This video is going to talk about finding equivalent ratios. So if there are 3 boys for every 2 girls in a class, and then we have a class that has 12 girls, we want to figure out how many boys are in the class. So if we know that the ratio is 3 boys to 12 girls, and we have 12 girls, to figure out how many boys there are, we are going to use a ratio table. So the first way that we can do this is we can say 3 over 2 is the same as 6 over 4 because we're multiplying by 2 over 2. And then we multiply by 3 over 3 to get 9 over 6. And then we multiply by 4 over 4 to get 12 over 8. And that would tell us, remember there were 3 boys, so we're going to use the symbol for male and female. And we want to talk about if there were 12 girls. We don't have 12 girls yet, so we're going to multiply by 5. 3 times 5 is 15. 2 times 5 is 10, still not the 12 girls. We're going to continue again, multiply by 6. 3 times 6 is 18. 2 times 6 is 12, which tells us that if the ratio is 3 boys to 12 girls, or 3 boys to 2 girls, and there are 12 girls, that means that there would be 18 boys. That's one way to figure it out. Let's say we know that there are 4 boys for every, 4 boys for every 5 girls in the class. And we know that there are 20 boys in the class. So we have boys to girls, and we know that it's 4 to 5. 4 boys to 5 girls. If there are 20 boys in the class, we want to know how many girls are there. So we could go ahead and we could name each and every ratio until we get there. Or we could know that 4 times 5 is 20. So I'm also going to multiply 5 by 5 so that I know there are 25 girls. I'm just completing a ratio. So in our other problem, where there were 3 boys for every 2 girls, and there were 12 girls in the class, then we would make sure that the first number, we don't know what the first number is in our new ratio that we're trying to figure out. I'm sorry, we do know what our first number is because there are 12 boys in this problem. So if there are 12 boys, we're going to put a 12 on the same row as the boys, which means that we don't know how many girls there are. We could put a variable there. I like to keep it blank. You might like to put a variable. You might like to put a box. Any one of those ways works. I like to work with a clean area when I can. Doesn't seem like it from these videos, but that's what I like to do. So to figure this out, we need to know how many times 3 times 12 is what? Or 3 times what is 12? And it turns out 3 times 4 is 12. So 2 times 4 is 8. So our answer is 8 girls. Now, this question asks something a little bit different. If there are 3 boys for every 2 girls in the class, they're going to tell us now there are 25 students total in a class. And they're going to ask, well, if there's 25 people total, how many boys are in the class? They don't tell us specifically how many total people are in the class. We're left to see that there are 3 boys, 2 girls. They don't give us any other details. So that means that the total here is 5. So now I want to take the information that's important to me. I want to know how many boys are in a class of 25 students total. So my ratio is going to talk about boys to total. And in the original information I was given, there are 3 boys when there is a total of 5 people. So if there is a total of 25 people, I want to know how many boys there are. So I know that 5 times 5 is 25. So 3 times 5 is 15. There would be 15 boys. If there are 4 boys for every 7 girls in a class of 33 people, if the ratio is 4 boys to 7 girls, so we have 4 boys to 7 girls in a class of 33 children, how many girls are in that class? So what's our first total here? Well, 7 plus 4, I'm just going to put a T for total. 7 plus 4 is 11. So if I know that there are 7 girls in a total of 11 people, what happens when there's 33 here? Well, 11 times 3 is 33, and 7 times 3 is 21. So there are 21 girls. If there are 6 boys for every 5 girls in a class of 22 children, how many boys are in the class? Go ahead and look through this problem, figure out how many people are there total in this original problem. We know that for here, with a different ratio, now there was 6 boys for every 5 girls. 6 plus 5 is 11. So if there's a class of 22, what do I do with that? Well, I know I'm trying to figure out how many boys are there. So I want to take the information about the boys, and there were 6, including the information with the total people, which is 11. 6 boys when there are 11 people. So what happens if there's 22 people? How many boys will there be? Well, 11 times 2 is 22. 6 times 2 is 12. So there were 21 girls up here. There are 12 boys here. And our last question asks about marbles, and I've run out of room to show work. So in our last question that's asking about marbles, they're going to tell us a jar has 3 red marbles for every blue marbles. And they say if there's a total of 28 marbles, how many of them are red? Well, when we look at the red and the blue ratio, if there are no other marbles in there and the problem has not talked to us about any, that makes 7 total. So if I want to know how many are red, I know that there are red and total is what I'm comparing. 3 red for every 7 total. What happens when there's 28 total marbles? 7 times 4 is 28. That's not a 4. 7 times 4 is 28. 3 times 4 is 12. There will be 12 red marbles. So we can also use a ratio table. We've been using a ratio table before. And they show the ratio table going up and down versus going across. Either way works. To figure this ratio table out, because we had our blank right here, 11 times 3, 7 times 3. That will get us our final answer. Go ahead and try to complete this ratio table on your own, and when you come back, we'll talk about it. Welcome back. So, to go from 4 to 12, that's times 3. So 7 times 3, is 21. To go from 3 to 15, that's multiplying by 5. So 5 times 5 is 25. To go from 2 to, I don't know what that is, so I'm going to have to go to the other side. 9 times 3 is 27, so 2 times 3 is 6. 12 also times 3 is 36, so 14 times 3, 4 times 3 is 12, is 42. You can do the same thing going the other direction. Now, to go from 20 to 5, we're not going to be multiplying but dividing. However, in this case, the answer that were the original ratio is now on the bottom. So we know that 5 times what is 20? 5 times 4 is 20. 6 times 4 is 24. 2 times 5 is 10. 3 times 5 is 15. And so on. 4 times 3 is 12. 7 times 3 is 21. 12 times 4, 8 times 4. So now we have a word problem. If a bus ticket costs $9, how much would 20 tickets cost? They're going to suggest that we make a ratio table. I would agree. Your ratio table might look like this, or it might look like this. Dollars to tickets. And I would say $9 for 5 tickets. How much would 20 tickets cost? 5 times 4, 9 times 4. So 20 tickets would cost $36. They're going to walk you through the same thing that we just did, but in a different way. Feel free to read over this if you like. So if 5 bus tickets cost $4, how much will 15 bus tickets cost? Go ahead and set this up on your own, and then we'll talk about it when you come back. Welcome back. So we're talking about tickets to dollars. 5 tickets cost $4. How much will 15 tickets cost? Well, 15 tickets goes in the tickets row. 5 times 3 is 15. 4 times 3 is 12. So that will cost $12. Go ahead and try to solve letter B by setting it up and solving it on your own. Welcome back. So we're still talking about tickets to dollars, and this time 5 bus tickets cost $6. How much can we buy if we have $30? Now the 30 is not going to go in the tickets row, it's going to go in the dollars row. 6 times 5 is 30. 5 times 5 is 25. We can buy 25 tickets. On a map, 3 centimeters represents 10 kilometers. So I know that I'm comparing centimeters to kilometers. 3 centimeters represents 10 kilometers. How many kilometers do 15 centimeters represent? Well, now I'm going to put that 15 centimeters in the centimeter row. And I know that 3 times 5 is 15. So 10 times 5 is 50. So it represents 50 kilometers. In letter D, Tanya gets paid $25 for 3 hours of work. So we're talking about dollars and hours. And she gets paid $25 for 3 hours of work. How much would she get paid for working 6 hours? Well, 6 is going to go under hours. And 3 times 2 is 6. And 25 times 2 is 50. So she'll be paid $50. 3 centimeters on a map represents 20 kilometers in real life. So we're talking about centimeters to kilometers. 3 centimeters represents 20 kilometers. If a lake is 6 centimeters long on a map, what is the actual length? Well, 3 times 2 is 6. 20 times 2 is 40 kilometers. There are 2 apples in a bowl for every 3 oranges. So we're talking about apples. We're literally comparing apples to oranges. They're saying if there are 12 oranges, so I'm going to put the 12 down here where the oranges is written ever so sloppily to figure out how many apples there are. 4 times 3 is 12. 2 times 3 is 6. So there are 6 apples. The ratio of boys to girls in a class is 4 to 7. So we're back to boys to girls. Try to solve both of these together on your own, and then we'll talk about it when you come back. Welcome back. So if we know in the first question the ratio of boys to girls is 4 to 7, what is the ratio of boys to students? Well, the ratio of boys to total students, we know that there are 4 boys. How many total people are here? Well, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That would be 4 to 11. Down below, the ratio of girls to boys. So they have switched this up. Girls to boys in a class is 5 to 3. Are there more girls or more boys? Well, what's the bigger number here? Notice that girls were first and boys were second. So the first number is the girls, the second number is the boys. So in this class, there are more girls. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.